Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for stepping into the Foul Play Land. As always, I'm your Foul Player. Want to make this video about the potential sale of the Mets and the fact that a bidding process has now started, or at least that the numbers of the bids that have been posted have been made public. I ran into the story via the New York Post yesterday. It says that two people um, are or three different factions are bidding on the Mets. Not sure who the other one is, but I know one. I know who one of them is, but one of them is headed by J Lo and A Rod. In addition to having the financial backing of a gentleman that owns the New Jersey Devils hockey team and the 76ers basketball team out of Philadelphia. The other one, or the highest bid, and I think their bid is at 1.7 billion. The highest bid is by Steve Cohen, the renegade investor, who a couple months ago had sale pretty much done with the Wilpons for 2.6 billion just for the team. A lot of the of what the Wilpons were asking for, I guess, like within that negotiation, made that negotiation fall apart. But he now has re-entered the bid and has posted a $2 billion bid, which is at least 300 million or almost 300 million more than what the A Rod and J Lo group has posted. The other group that I don't know who for now is nameless because I don't know who they are. Also posted a bid somewhere in the 1.7 billion dollar range. Steve Cohen right now has the highest bid at 2 billion, 600 million less than what he originally was willing to pay just for the New York Mets. But from what you hear, that the Mets wanted to retain control for 5 years with the original $2.6 million sale. They wanted Jeff Wilpon, the inept son of Fred Wilpon, who's been a pariah to this organization for decades. They wanted him to retain a president role of some sort, in addition to being paid $5 million per year, while conducting that role, while playing with Steve Cohen's money. Ultimately, I think Steve Cohen saw the light and wanted to back out of the deal, and now has re-entered the bid at 600 million less. They said he's also posted a $2 billion bid for SNY. So I know the Wilpons were opposed to selling SNY, but Cohen, with good reason, has put a bid on the network SNY, which has the majority of the Mets games. He put a bid on that network as well, which is a really fine network. I'm not saying it being biased, but I think it's neck and neck as far as popularity with the Yankees network, and the Yankees have a lot more success. They have the ability to show a lot more classic games than SNY does. But SNY has a way better or SNY has a sports New York like coverage, like which the Yankees don't. The Yankees is pretty much solely Yankee coverage. So I think with a little tinkering, SNY, which is already a really good network, could turn into a great network. And they have other networks similar to SNY around the country. I usually tend to watch all of them when I travel, like the regional sports networks. SNY just does it better, honestly. They have the broadcast team for that does the Mets. Ron Darling, Gary Cohen, and Keith Hernandez. Sports New York, the nightly sports show that they have on SNY is fantastic. All the afternoon, evening shows. that they have or have had have all been pretty good. Um, Loudmouth, but I don't have the network any longer, like because I watch games on my phone now. But you get the point. And I hope the Wilpon like the Wilpons end up selling to Cohen and the Cohen group. Cohen was a big time Met fan from what I'm told. He's from Long Island. J Lo is from the Bronx. I mean, like they're gonna have an affinity for or she would have an affinity more for the Yankees. A Rod was a Met fan growing up, but as you all know, he played a lot of his career with the Yankees. And another problem is that they're not married, and if they do, and they're both like kind of like in the spotlight. So if they split, we're gonna have a problem like as far as like divvying up the team, and like I just don't want that mess. Like, and Cohen seemingly has deep pockets. I want a guy who could throw a lot of money into this franchise. And which the Wilpons haven't done. Like the Wilpons have made like financial commitments every couple of years, but they're usually the wrong financial commitments. See Jason Bay. Um, a lot of times when they should go all in, like they should have gone all in to bid on Delgado when he first came onto the free agency market. Rather than like trading for him after the fact. Being that we signed Beltran and Pedro Martinez, they should have just went all in, and we would have had Delgado for another year. In and you wouldn't have Beltran like suffering or playing up to the pressures of trying to justify why the Mets paid him so much in his first year, which he did really bad. Um, with Delgado as protection, they would have done okay. But the Mets have like they could have got Matt Holiday. I mean, they could have got Holiday when they needed an outfielder, but they got Jason Bay, and Jason Bay stunk. You know, there's been countless times like where the Mets just did enough like to keep you thinking that they're spending money, but it's just dumb money. I rather like the guy that even if he spends dumb money and like fails, like was willing to like just double down and make a big financial commitment over and over. It's not my money. But another hold up on this deal, they're saying that the Wilpons won't sell to Cohen unless it's for at least a quarter of a billion, 250 more than the next highest offer, which he's already fulfilled that. Another thing is that when the sale fell apart the first time, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of the MLB, kind of like went to bat for the Wilpons. Like the Wilpons, always had some sort of clout with the MLB for God knows what reason. They've been giving Fred Wilpon was given like a MLB overall financial officer appointment for some reason. I just don't want them there. Like I'd much rather have Cohen. That goes without saying. But hopefully, being that they got to get the approval of I think over 2/3 of the league owners, hopefully that doesn't rub the other owners the wrong way, and that they'll sign off on the sale of this team. Maybe the coronavirus and the fact that the Wilpons will now lose more money, thank God, makes the Wilpons kind of go campaigning for Cohen to be the ultimate buyer of the team. Trying to make sure I didn't miss anything, but yeah, I'm hoping this gets done, man. Like there was something else I wanted to mention too. Um, that was it, I think. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, man. I'm not in New York at the moment, but surprised this isn't getting covered a lot more. I mean, and the other sale falling apart like kind of put me in like to a deep depression when it happened in December. But now that they reposted the team for sale and things are kind of like moving quickly because I just remember what else I had to say, that things are moving kind of quickly. Maybe that means that this sale is more legit. I just wanted to go to the right person because you don't get rid of owners that easy. But another thing that I did want to mention is something my friend told me, is that the Mets have a revolving a loan with Chase Bank for $250 million, um, and they gotta repay that loan like soon. Like I don't know if it's in July, which is now, or but I know it has to be repaid soon, and they're trying to put off like paying that loan, or put that money, put the team up as like collateral or something, so that the next owner would be the one like that would be stuck with the loan. It's something to that effect, where the Mets like, or the Wilpons took out a $250 million loan, and from what I was hearing, or from what my friend was hearing, is that um, Cohen has a lot of pull with Chase Bank, who gave that loan to the Wilpons, and is making it so that the Wilpons can't put the team up as collateral for the loan or something. Like he's just making it really hard for like, or making it so where like the payment of that loan is factoring in to the Wilpons wanting to sell in such an expedient fashion. Another thing too is that the Cohen and his group has a stake in the Mets already. I think it's a 8% stake or a 12% stake, and hopefully, I mean, I can't see it being any other way. Like that helps um, in the Mets. I hope that eases the sale of the team to Cohen rather than somebody else. Um, for that alone, I mean, like for the fact that that he's already has a stake in the team. He's already in part an owner. I also hope that the MLB doesn't, like, barring, I mean, and this is pending on like the fact that Steve Cohen is the buyer, that the MLB doesn't look at Cohen in a funky fashion, but then signs off on J Lo and A Rod, because J Lo is not a baseball person. A Rod, is entwined in all the steroid scandal, and I know, like, a lot of that beef that A Rod had when he was going through a steroid thing was with the Yankees, but the MLB wasn't looking at that too favorably as it was happening. I know he's redeemed himself as far as working for ESPN and broadcasting games when he really doesn't have to, because A Rod, according to what I've heard, is rich, beyond rich, even before like the baseball contracts. They said that A Rod was making $20 million a year just on his investments. Like A Rod was investing in like real estate when he was like 20 years old. Um, but you know, in spite of that, of all that though, A Rod's not touching 8 billion like Steve Cohen is. Like Cohen's like rich. So I'm I'm very glad that Steve Cohen is like seemingly sitting in the woods and waiting to pounce. I thought that he was disenfranchised with the way that the last sale fell apart, but it's really cool. Um, Kind of like trollish, which I like. That he's like kind of like waiting in the woods and like just ready to pounce. I mean, like, he's not offering a couple bucks more than like the highest bidder. He's offering 250 million more, and he still got it at a discount like than the original price that he paid. And I'm glad, like, if it does go through, that he paid the Wilpons way less money than what he originally paid, and hopefully, that'll spur them to sell SNY along with the Mets to Cohen. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for checking me out. Go Mets as always. With that, I'm out. Peace.